This episode is brought to you by Sterling Financial Management. If you've left teaching to start your own business, whether it's tutoring, coaching, consulting, or something creative, we're here to help you grow it with confidence. From bookkeeping and tax returns to full financial strategy and virtual finance office support. We help service-based business owners get clear on their numbers and plan for profit. No jargon, no judgment, just smart financial guidance from a team that really gets it. Find out more at sterling-financialmanagement.co.uk. Download some of our helpful guides for starting out and take the stress out of your business finances. Welcome to Leave Teaching and, the podcast that's all about transformation and new beginnings, with Ruth Laqui, Lindsay Fekete and myself, Carrie-Anne Booth. If you're a teacher or educator who's had enough of the classroom grind and are ready to discover a whole new way to earn, live with freedom and enjoy an excellent quality of life, you're in the right place. Throughout this series, we'll be discussing a range of topics aimed at helping you leave teaching and start a business, inspiring you with real life stories, strategies and guidance. Welcome back to the Leave Teaching and podcast. And I'm here with my fabulous co-hosts, Carrie-Anne Booth, Ruth Laqui, and I'm Lindsay Fekete. And in this episode, we are going to be chatting about finances and money, and specifically that transition that we make when we leave teaching and go from a regular salary, secure money, a pension, knowing how much we're going to be bringing home every single month of the year, to being self-employed and not knowing how much we're going to be bringing home every month of the year. And how you can manage that, and the journey that we went through, and some tips for you if you are in that process at the moment. So, Ruth, how did you manage that big leap, or even make that decision? I think a lot of the time I speak to people, and that is the thing that's actually holding them back. That's the thing that's stopping them leaving teaching, even though they know that they really are ready to leave. That security is the thing that keeps them and pins them there. So how did you find that transition?
So I think that is the biggest thing that keeps people there. But I am a huge fan. I love my little quotes and one-liners, but nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you want to stay where you are, feeling the way you're feeling, you want to get out the classroom, but you feel like you can't because you're used to a certain amount of money and you can't afford to perhaps leave because you're worried about maintaining that amount of money, then you're stuck. Nothing will change. You will be stuck there. And it is a huge mindset shift. But actually, if we make a change, then other things will change. And I think for me, it was there is no other option. The option was go back full time and not have the flexibility around my son at the time, my baby, or quit. Don't know what I'm going to do, but one way or another, I have to make this work, and I will make this work because that's what I want. I want that change. And then I think the more I got into business, the more I realized that actually that mindset of I need to be paid this much, and it changes. And suddenly I began to realize that actually I could be paid whatever I wanted to earn. And that lid was lifted as well. So not only was I thinking differently, my actions were different too. I feel like I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent now. So there's two sorts of questions. Like if you're asking me what did I do, I can tell that story. What I did was, we had a discussion, me and my husband did. At that point, we decided that we would live on his salary and we would just make sacrifices. So, for example, we had 2 cars at the time. We went down to 1 car because we didn't need 2 cars because I wasn't going off to a place of work anymore. I could work from home. looking at the little things that we spend on. So do you really need to have Netflix, Disney, Paramount, like a subscription for every single thing? Or actually, can you cut back there? Can you change? Thinking about your priorities and just making smarter choices. So even once I did start earning money, I didn't go and spend all of that money, because actually I wanted to be able to reinvest my money. I think living within your means is really, really key when you're wanting to make a change as well, because it doesn't matter what you earn. If you're constantly spending at the top of your means, you could be earning £100,000 a month. But if you're spending £100,000 a month, you're going to be in exactly the same position. So what we did was we looked at what income my husband would be bringing in, saw what that was, and then adapted our outgoings and our expenditure accordingly. And we weren't so frivolous and like this and that, and started to save stuff a little bit more. But it is amazing what you can live on when you're willing to adapt, when you want, well, like I said, there was no other option. I had to make that change. So I was happy to not have a car, or I know that is a luxury to many people anyway, to have had two cars. But it's about looking at your personal finances and doing what you can to make things work.
Just to butt in as well to Ruth and Lindsay, like, you said your husband was on board with it all and everything. I think that's another big thing for people. Like when I was leaving, I had people like my grandma getting on my case, going, well, why would you leave such a stable career? It's a good pension, it's this, it's that. So it's not just your financial mindset, it's everybody around you as well. And I think sometimes it's really hard for people to kind of battle that. And it's always those people who are really close to you as well who are questioning it. And it's those people that you kind of need the support from. So it's really tough, isn't it, when your nearest and dearest start going, oh, are you sure? And I find that really hard as well.
You can see why they do it though, because it comes from a place of love, doesn't it? It comes from a place of they want the best for you. They don't want you to be put into a position where your security is not compromised, or you're in a financial mess. And I think like there's loads of things to unpick with what you both said, but I think that the choice is important. Like to look at your choices, and everyone will be in a completely different position. And obviously, we're not financial experts, or we can't give advice and things, and everyone will be in a different position. But I think it's looking at what choices do you have, and I don't think it has to be that all or nothing. So I left because I got on well, I had burnt out, I knew I had to leave because my health was just shot to pieces. But I left over quite a long period of time. I decided that I was going to leave, but I wanted to see out the school year. So I gradually started my business alongside teaching, because that gave me a little bit of a security comfort that I had something that I had already started before I left. Even though I knew I was going, I'd sort of they ran parallel. And I think a lot of people do that. They start things whilst they're still in teaching because it gives them the time to sort of see how it goes, and it's not so like I'm out and I'm into my business and there's like nothing in between. And like I was saying about financial circumstances, my husband wasn't employed when I left. So we were in a really different position. He'd been, I left not long after like the first COVID episode. Is that the right thing to call it? Episode? Like
COVID crap series, that one. Didn't like that.
So after the episode, it's downplaying it slightly, isn't it? Anyway, he'd been made redundant a couple of times during COVID and had started his own business like literally 2 or 3 months before I started mine. So we'd gone from over 20 years together, both being employed, regular salaries, to both being self-employed. So we were like really putting ourselves in a precarious situation. We had some savings, but not loads. We had 2 kids. We still have 2 kids. But we, it was different for me. It wasn't like we can survive on one salary. And I think everyone has to weigh up their own circumstances. and see how they can maybe start making the transition or start it, even if their loved ones aren't on board, even if they haven't got another salary. So yeah, I think it's really personal, and that's why it's so hard, isn't it? Because everyone's in such a different place.
I think you just have it inside of you. You know, inside of you, I need to do something else and I want to make this work. So you will either come up with a million excuses of why it won't work and be your own worst enemy, or you will accept the fact this is going to be difficult, this is going to be challenging. I am going to have to make sacrifices financially, time-wise, and when you're first building your business. But what you're going to get in the end is so worth it that you are happy to take that leap of faith and that initial sacrifice, essentially, if it's inside of you that that's what you want to do, or you stay where you are.
And I think, did you both have a backup plan? Because I had a backup plan of what I would do if it
Yeah.
didn't work. What would yours, Carrie-Anne?
Every teacher's got the same backup plan, right? It's all
Yeah.
right if it all goes wrong, I can go and do supply. Nobody wants to do supply, but that's always the backup. So that is that's plan Z, right? If
Yeah.
you're a teacher, plan Z, you can do supply teaching. There's always going to be some work out there for you. So yeah, that was my backup. That was my sort of one of my safety nets. So yeah.
That was also my biggest incentive to make it work.
Exactly.
I do not want to do supply.
Yeah. And I think for me as well, one of the things that helped me was being prepared to say yes and figure it out later as well. So
I've got that on my list. Say yes, and then you'll find out what you don't like, what you do like, and what you love. So I think, yeah, you're right, Ruth. In the first few months, 6 months, you say yes to everything because you're scared to death that you're not going to earn enough money. But then a bit further down the line, when you're feeling a bit more comfortable in your entrepreneurial shoes, you're like, actually, I don't need to do that thing that I don't really like doing. Like, I can see that I can make more money from other ways and actually enjoy it as well.
And your confidence grows as you've been running your business for longer. I suppose it's confidence because you know that you can see the money coming in and it's working.
It's your imposter syndrome as well, isn't it? So with your what's your financial fear? It's that imposter syndrome of thinking, if you do something, actually, is this going to pay me for as long as I need it to pay me, or is this just paying me now? Like, it doesn't matter what point you get to, you're going to have those fears, essentially. But it's about overcoming them, which mentorship really helps with, and money mindset and all of those things as well.
Have you done any formal work on your money mindset, Ruth?
Yeah, so I did a training course, which was basically all around money mindset, which was revolutionary for me, really, essentially. Doing that, the second I started investing in courses, the second everything changed for me, because I went from thinking small to thinking big. I went from thinking I'm a small business owner to thinking I'm going to build a legacy empire. like genuinely, that's the difference. And I'm on that journey. That is what I'm building, and I'm doing it around my children, but my mindset is so different. So whether it becomes the big vision at the end of my board, or whether it becomes a little bit less than that, it will still be a huge success because I'm thinking bigger and I'm dreaming bigger now. So my not achieving is amazing, whereas that wouldn't have even crossed my mind before.
It's true though, isn't it? Like you leave teaching and you're trying to build yourself a job. You're trying to build something that will bring in that at least that teacher wage. Or for me, I was the main earner, so I need to pay what I pay every month. So when you first leave, you're creating this little job for yourself. But I think the more you step into it, you're then creating a business and you start talking about it like a business owner. And then like Ruth said, you've got that big dream at the end. I've got the science booth. When I die, sorry to be grim, but when I die, I don't want the science booth to die with me. I want it to have become big enough and amazing enough that even when I step away from it, this thing still exists. Like Ruth said, we're creating that legacy. It's think bigger. Initially you can't think big, you've got to pay your bills and that's that. But once you get into it, you're like, wow, this could become whatever it needs to be. That you can dream as big as you like. And the other thing as well with money is you can earn as much as you like. You know, we had capped earnings as teachers, we had the pay scales, and, you know, forever dreaming to get onto that upper pay scale. But once you've got your business, there is no upper pay scale, there is no upper limit. It's whatever you want to earn and whatever you want to create for yourself.
And whatever you want to earn, they say like whack a note on the end. That's what you're aiming for.
Could you like if you think back to when you were first leaving Carrie Ann and your like financial situation or your feelings around money, could you imagine sitting here now saying my earnings are uncapped, I've got unlimited potential?
Absolutely not. Like when I left teaching with no savings, a head full of ideas and like 17 half-filled notebooks. I'm thinking, God, what the hell am I going to do? What the hell am I going to do? Like you though, Lindsay, I'd already started mine on the side of teaching. It was never my intention when I started it to leave teaching. Like my business is 8 years old now, but I only left teaching well, less than 2 years ago. So it was never really my intention. I don't know what my intention was with my business originally, but when I got to the point where I actually said, yes, I'm leaving, and I said it out loud, I was like, right, I've no savings, but I can make a plan. And for me, it was like, right, if I'm losing the regular income, I had the science booth as like this little side hustle, which was ad hoc, roller coaster earnings, whatever. If I got a birthday party booking, great. If I didn't really matter because I had a salary. So I had to think, right, well, I need a plan now. I need to get X amount of bookings. So I knew when I left school that I needed to get that regular money. So that's when the after school clubs came in for the science booth. And for me, that was my regular sort of bread and butter money. And I knew that would be coming in every term, no matter what, because schools would book for half a term or a full term. And I could see that money was going to come in whatever I did. I also had a side hustle on the side hustle. So as well as having teaching and the science booth, I also taught online for somebody else as a freelancer. And again, I could see I do that now every Wednesday, 6 hours, and I can see that's money coming in that I don't have to worry about. It's easy money. I'm teaching from my computer. My commute is walking from my bedroom to the office, and that's there every week. It's excellent money, and it's a walk in the park. So I think for me, once you get into your stride of being a business owner, I think the really important thing is to not put all your eggs in one basket. You need to have these multiple streams of income, because if something goes wrong, if something you don't get the bookings, or the person I freelance for decides to close down her company, where are the rest of my eggs? And there's that saying, isn't there, like, I don't know, a millionaire has an average of 7 income streams. Now, I'm not a millionaire yet, but I'm building those income streams. And I had a few at the beginning, and now I've got more, and I'm then picking and choosing the ones I want to keep. So for example, the science booth was where it all started, and that was me doing in like real world workshops, parties and shows in schools, etc. So that's in the real world. I have online courses that I offer from the science booth as well, and then take it up another notch, I've franchised. So I've got other people doing the science booth in other parts of the country, and that's bringing money in. My community, the STEAM Educator Staff Room, was never about making money. But now I've built this awesome community. It does make money, and it makes money in a really nice way. I don't feel like I'm being salesy and taking money off people. I've got my annual conference that's every year. I've got a membership, and I've got courses launching literally next week. So that's another stream of income. There were streams of income I didn't even know I'd be able to tap into when I was a teacher. So affiliate marketing, I've affiliate marketed for a millionaire. I affiliate market for Amazon. And then there's other things that are like a real surprise, like Curveball. I get paid to do media stuff now as well. Like I get paid to talk about my opinion on education in the national news and on TV. Like if you'd have asked me before I left teaching, would the media be paying me money? I'd be like, absolutely not. Like that's insane. I'm just a teacher. We come back to it time and time again. I'm just a teacher. But once you stop thinking you're just a teacher, you become a business owner, an entrepreneur, a CEO, and literally, as cheesy as it sounds, the world is your oyster. You can do what you want, you can earn when you want, and you can work on your terms. And I absolutely love that.
It's such a journey though, isn't it?
Carrie Ann.
Come on. And do you know what? Do you know what? Anybody who's listening to this, I'm just normal. Like if you're sat there going, oh, well, you know, she's got it all. No, you've got to, you make it happen. Anybody can do this. We are 3 normal people who just left teaching and made something better. And here we are celebrating that and hoping we can inspire loads of you guys to do it as well.
And
I
Yeah.
want this, you want this, we all want this for you. If you're listening to this, the reason we are doing this is so you can do it too, because it's the teacher in us. We want others to succeed. Like it all comes full
Teach what we've
circle.
learned. But I think also like we've been on that journey and we know what it feels like to be in that situation. We know like how it feels to leave teaching and think, I can't charge people for something that I gave for free. Even though we were paid as teachers, I still thought I was giving it for free. I didn't quite correlate that salary with teaching, like
I guess
teaching was a vocation.
we didn't get paid for our time though, did we? You know,
Yeah.
as teachers,
No.
we kill ourselves working 50, 60 hours being like this superhero teacher. We only get paid our salary. Like if you actually broke down your hourly rate, it was absolutely disgusting as a teacher. Whereas now, as a business owner, you can charge your worth. And you know what? People are happy to pay it and say thank you at the end and then tell you how amazing you are. You never got that in teaching.
And
Exactly.
I think that's it, like the confidence, though, isn't it, that actually people will. And we talked in our last podcast about transferable skills, like realizing how valuable those skills are. I worked in the private sector before I became a teacher for not very long. I worked in banking for 5 years, and it was a really long time ago. I'm talking like 30 years ago, so I'm sure it's changed. But I don't think that I have had that experience of sort of relating my work with being paid or relating my performance with being paid, and it feels very alien. So I think it like just that process of getting used to people paying you for what you do, for paying you when you do a really good job, and then that journey, like you say, of you get really good at something and then you add another thing in, and then an opportunity comes you could not have seen in a million years, and you say yes to that and you add another thing in. Like I'm a certified sales strategist now. I would never have put that on my list of things to do. Like I didn't like asking people to pay me. Like my first phone call to a parent, I remember I stood in this room and I said my price and I closed my eyes and I said it and I just thought, oh, this feels horrible. And it was like probably half of what I charge for tuition now. And it felt so uncomfortable. But the more that you get used to talking about money and talking about pricing and all those things, like you just move further down. But it can feel difficult.
And like the biggest thing I think, like the topic of this is overcoming financial fears. Carrie Ann hit the nail on the head. Multiple income streams and making as many of them as you can as passive or semi-passive income streams. Like that is the golden nugget. And that's something that we've all done within our businesses as well, which I think is a big thing for people to learn, but the avenues are endless.
And it's part of that learning journey, isn't it? We've all gone down that route of filling every hour with money because we need the income, we don't know where it's coming from, and then going, this isn't going to work. I can't keep going at this rate. I haven't got any more hours in the day. I'm going to have to build on this now and change how I work and things. And
It's quite interesting for me because I kind of did the opposite, because the reason I'd left was because I wanted to spend more time with my son. I needed to build a business from the onset that gave me more time with him. So my business didn't have a service element to it when I first started. It was products, and it was physical products initially. We've since moved into physical and digital. And then the service element came in of the consultancy when I had a little bit more time. So you don't have to go one way or the other. You can start just with one stream where it is like a passive income stream as well. And everything works for people in different ways.
yeah, that's a really good point, actually. And I suppose that goes right back to what we spoke about at the beginning. Your financial circumstances are your financial circumstances, and what your priorities are for your money, where you want to spend money and don't, where you're willing to cut back and are not willing to cut back, will be completely personal, and the time you have available and all those things. So you have to think about, what do I want from it, and go from your, like, build it for yourself, really.
And that's it. Closed mouths don't get fed. So open your mouth, be visible, start your business, and let's earn some money. That's the key. You've been listening to the Leave Teaching and podcast with me, Ruth LeQuee, Lindsay Peckerty and Carrie-Anne Booth. If you've enjoyed our conversation today, don't forget you can follow us on socials to hear about future episodes, events and ways to help you leave teaching and start your own business.